Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to just introduce everybody quickly. I'm here with Linda John, one of my amazing clients and retreat attendees. So, Linda, thank you for being here with me.
Happy to be.
Yeah, just wanted to chit chat a little bit about your experience with those things, right? With working with me, both in the coaching capacity, and then also, what it was like for you with attending the recent retreat that we did in Bali. So
Mhm.
I guess to start off with, if you could just kind of introduce yourself a little bit, a little background on yourself and your business, and
Sure.
kind of what you do so people understand.
That sounds great. Thank you. So I'm Linda, and I do have my own company, a coaching and consulting company, working in the area of team development and leadership coaching. I have a strong background in tourism marketing and management, and so a lot of my clients are in that space we call destination organizations. And I work, most of my contracts are with a company called Fired Up Culture. And so we do team summits and leadership coaching, organizational development strategies and consulting for clients all over North America. And that puts me on the road a lot. I just did some math last week and I had 28 offsites that I did during the year last year, which meant
Wow.
lots and lots of travel,
Full travel.
which I do love travel. I don't love traveling for business as much as that. So actually I just got a new role in my position, which is going to be more of a strategic new market development. So I'll be able to stay off the road, not doing as much client on-site work, but I'll still do some of that. And so that's been part of my journey is trying to figure out like how do I do what I love, stay in my joy, because I do love the work, but it's how do I balance that with actually having a great life that I enjoy also. I tend to sink everything into the work side of it. And so that has been a lot of my work with you, Lori. And I love the way that uh, kind of by accident, but I approached my coaching journey with you in that I had a 6 month program of pretty intensive coaching leading up to the Bali retreat and experience. And I felt like that really prepared me well and had me in a really good space to receive and connect and benefit from all the things that you provided there. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that and let you ask me see where you want to take it from there.
Okay, awesome. Well, you kind of started to kind of go into my next question, which was really, like in terms of like your business, where you were, first of all, I guess before we started working together in a coaching capacity. And then, we can talk a little bit too in terms of like before the retreat, but I think they'll just one will lead into the other. Like where were you at? What was going on? How are you feeling? What were you experiencing before that work together?
Well, I started working on my own in 2020, and I joined Fired Up Culture in 2021, and we grew very fast, and that meant we were very successful, and so that was good, but we kept growing, and it's just like the my capacity kept being challenged, and I had a really hard time saying no to things. It's like if it had to be done, I just thought it was me that had to do it. So where I was when I came to you was like complete burnout, probably. I just felt like I couldn't even hold my head above water. I wasn't even sure I would be able to find time in a day to have a coaching call, to be honest. And I just I felt really frustrated that I'm 61 years old, and it was kind of like I should be enjoying my life a little bit more now. I shouldn't have to be climbing any ladders working to prove anything. I just want to do good work, but I want to shut it off. I want to be able to shut it off at the end of the day. And that's going to require me taking care of myself, which I was always giving myself up for whatever anyone else needed. And so that was taking care of myself really was a big part of it was just saying, owning my no, I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't come there on that date. My earliest date is this. And instead of just like, oh, they want me next week, I just got to go next week, you know? So that was that, but also finding the margin in my day, which I have to say is a little bit off again right now, which is why we're getting ready to start a new coaching program together. It's just like finding margin in my day to just hike and relax and take walks and sit and read a book or take a nap. And all the things, I live in Tucson, Arizona in the summer, and I live up on a lake in Canada. I'm sorry, Tucson, Arizona in the winter and a lake in Canada. That would be really bad. In the summer, so I've found a way to like have the best of both worlds as far as like the lifestyle I could have and weather, opportunities to be. I'd love to be outside, but I find myself not doing those things still again because I'm kind of got pulled back into that do. So um I was really able to benefit from that. I also had a nutrition component that was really helpful to me so I could take care of my body that way. And I started to learn about human design and how my emotions, there was a point in time I thought I didn't even have emotions, to be honest. But I actually have a lot of them. And
Yeah.
I just was kind of ignoring them. And I wasn't getting curious about like they're telling me, they're teaching me things, they're telling me things. And so all of that became super interesting and like just getting to know this person, Linda, who has gotten away from who she really is at the core, and becomes something that's created by what everybody else wants her to be. And so that's why I'm, on this journey. We don't just arrive. It is ongoing work. I did 6 months. I did that beautiful retreat in Bali. That's been about 4 weeks ago that I got back from there, maybe. And now I feel the need to get back at it. I got to get back at it. I got to get some tune-ups going here and some
Yeah.
new goals.
Yes, next level goals, right?
Next level goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
So,
know a lot. I know a lot more now about all of this than I did then by far. It's just having like the discipline and the intention and sometimes the accountability to
mhm.
make it to do those things and to practice those things and to make them part of the everyday.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that, and tell me if I'm wrong here, but I think that we get to a certain point sometimes and we tell ourselves we don't need that accountability or I should be able to do this on my
Yeah.
own.
Yeah.
Yeah, was
I'm
that?
I'm 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 a leadership coach myself. Coach yourself, Linda. You know this
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I think I've found that personally, a lot of times, and even for myself, that coaches need coaches,
I
right?
say that I tell people that all the time. They're like, "What? You have a coach?" I'm like, "Coach, I have more than one coach. Coaches need
Yeah, me
coaches."
too. Exactly. And I think that that's something that we understand as coaches the value of having that support system.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So obviously, we did work together, but before, let's say before we actually like before you dove in the first time, were there any
Hmm.
hesitations that you had about working with me or about getting into this program?
Um, yeah, I mean, it was kind of like I was questioning like, did I make the good, I have like, I kind of have some fear stuff going on within my human design. So it's like, was this a good investment? It was a big commitment. Um, I was like, am I gonna get the value for this? Am I gonna like feel, realize differences? So it was a little bit of that. There also was like Laura, you and I had worked together before in I was just like there was this little like, is our past relationship gonna allow both of us to open up fully? And I think it's really been beautiful how it's evolved. Like,
Uh,
um, more and more and more, I feel like I can be more and more vulnerable,
mhm.
because you're very supportive and non-judgmental, but you still have a lot of experience about where I've come from and some of the things that were tripping me up. And that's like, for me, that knowledge of that has been really helpful. Um, and it's kind of in a strange way, but it has been helpful that you can see where I was. You told me once, like, you're not even that the same person, really. Like, you're just like this different person now. And it's helpful to me that you saw then and now and can help me reflect back that when I need to, which you do sometimes too.
Yeah,
And I don't think
absolutely.
I was a terrible person then, but I definitely had things that were getting in my way.
Yeah. Well, and I
Just
think
gotta say that.
yeah, well, that's part of our journey. We aren't terrible people, right? Like, obviously, if we were terrible
Right.
people, we wouldn't become coaches.
Exactly.
But it really is that choice that we make as individuals to go on a personal development journey
Yeah.
and to improve ourselves. And it can be scary, and it can lead to
Hmm.
hesitations and fears, etc.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I'm curious too. So obviously, like, we did some work together, and then you also did the retreat. So
Hmm.
were there any expectations that you had of either of those experiences going in, either the coaching or the retreat?
I expected the journey to Bali to be easier than it was. People must prepare themselves for a very long journey. Um, and there were some unexpected, curveballs on my journey home that made it even more interesting. But that's just part of traveling, so that happens. But um, I think so things that so the question is like things I wasn't prepared for, wasn't expecting. Is that really what you're wondering? Things that were
um,
unexpected?
well, yeah, I mean, just like,
Mm.
what were the expectations versus the reality? And you
Yeah,
can go both, first working together or retreat, whatever,
yeah.
whatever you want to.
I mean, I went thinking this is gonna be a great vacation, and that I was going to meet great people and interact with them, and that all happened. All of that did. Um, and what I wasn't expecting that also happened was just a lot of learning, like they had with when you guys had these mastermind sessions with us throughout the day, because it was like sort of the title was Income Explosion. And I'm just like, crap, I'm not, it felt like I was going to be busier. And I was like, I'm going, but income explosion isn't resonating for me because I literally need to like figure out a way to slow it all down, get into flow. But what happened was I figured through those classes and really like group coaching sessions, but one-on-one, very personalized, I realized that by slowing down and rearranging some things in my life, I would actually be able to have the life I desire, and be home more and actually make more money doing that, like working less and making more. And I had a roadmap by the time I left to help me get there.
Yes,
I have
yes, you did. What
allergies.
else happened while you were there? If you don't mind sharing.
What's that?
I said, what else
Oh,
happened while you were there, even?
oh, then my contracts that I booked a bit of business while I was there. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember how much. How much did I book? Was it
Probably
100,000? I'm trying to remember those contracts. It was three contracts that totaled. I think
about
it was close
75
around
or 100,000. Yeah.
75 to, yeah, 75 to 100,
While
something
on a
like that.
retreat in Bali.
While there in Bali. And I had
Yeah.
a similar situation when I was working in Hawaii remotely earlier in the year.
Yeah.
And that's such a good lesson for me too, because it's like it doesn't it's like that was one of my key takeaways. Money compensation doesn't have to be like how much work we are doing as is equal. It's like it's the value we have. It's what we provide that's a value to somebody else that makes them willing to pay that. And it might be for a very little part of your day that you're doing that work. And that was a huge shift for me.
Oh,
And I'm
yeah.
going to have to remember that as we move into 2025. And I have a new role that allows me to be home more, but it also has some significant financial benchmarks, goals.
Mhm.
And so that could feel scary, but I'm going to have to remember that whole thing about it's not about having to work, like physically work more, do more. It's about having to connect with the right people, and be our best selves, like my most authentic me, which means I'm going to have my downtime, have my yoga time, have my playtime, be home more so that I can and sleep more
Yeah.
and not feel bad about that. And so that I will be showing up in a way that I'm drawn to the people who need me and they're drawn to me, and the financial piece of it isn't really even a question.
Yeah. Yeah. So work more, make less. Or sorry, work less, make more.
Work less will make more. Like that was a
Yes.
big, and I just didn't expect um that kind of a aha breakthrough for myself. I kind of like I get this stuff, you know? I kind of was just sort of like maybe a little bit closed-minded about it, but as it started to unfold, I was starting to feel the magic. And I was if there's anything that I would have wanted more of, is more of those mastermind sessions. You know, there was a lot of touring and experiences that were just amazing. But where I really felt the most like desire to return to something like this was about the mastermind coaching sessions,
Yeah.
and where I was able to grow from those. And meditation sessions. It wasn't just a it was like all the things around around us, working on us, like some great yoga, some great meditation sessions. Some of the experiences were about washing away, like the healing fountains. Like it's kind of like this. It felt spiritually connected in a way.
Hmm.
There wasn't a religious bent. It was just like in Bali, the people are very connected to a higher being, whatever that might be for each of us. And that came through in a lot of our touring and experiences as well. And so it was all in an integrated way, feeling really good.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big believer in the idea of integrative success. Obviously, you've experienced that now from the retreat end of things as well as the coaching packages, and really the power that that can have, because it
Yeah.
isn't just one thing or one person that's going to bring that to us always. It's the culmination of all of the different pieces of what we need in order to grow, in order to make us stronger people. So
Yeah,
yeah, I love that.
for sure.
And Bali, you're right. Bali is such an amazing, amazing place. Um,
It
to
is
to do
beautiful.
to visit in general, but to do that type of retreat. So, uh, I want to talk a little bit quickly, if we can, about Mara as well, because she was
Yeah,
my co-host on the
yeah.
retreat, and obviously you had just met her, briefly before the retreat, but you know tell me a little bit more about your experience working with her. I mean, if there was any hesitations, question, and what that experience was like, what came from that.
Yeah, I feel like with Mira, we had connected by Zoom once before. I didn't really know very much about her. I know that I knew her skill set was kind of about, you know, this, how the pieces and the parts all fit together in a business, how you grow your business, like very, very smart, like financially and strategically, and all these things. And so when I actually met her in person, first of all, I loved the way the two of you played off each other.
Yeah.
And because you kind of have that magnetic match in human design where um, you make that work for you in a way that serves the group very well. And I would say that Mira also is an expert in human design. And so as we were like trying to figure out some of these things, she could point out areas that might be getting in our way and we could talk through that. So I really respected her knowledge there. And you have a great amount of that as well. Um, and I think the thing that I got that was the most for me is just like I got the confidence that I could ask for what I needed for me and it was okay. It's like I don't have to feel bad. And so I actually right after that retreat, based on a lot of our conversations with Yumi and Mara, I went and I just had this feeling that like I could do this. And I went to the owner of the company I do most of my work for, and I said, I want a new role. And this is what I want it to look like. These are my strengths. I'm spending too much time on the road and doing administrative tasks that are not joyful for me. And so I proposed actually that I have a this new role and that I would have his blessing for bringing on my own um, virtual assistant who I'd kind of already targeted who this person would be. And I needed his blessing for it because she would need to have access to all of our back end systems and all of that. Um, and I was really proud of myself for putting together this plan, putting together like the financial pieces of it that I would need. And within a week, he came back with a similar, like he was all on board. He loved the idea, but he just wanted to tweak some things and came back and he he did elevate my role to let me allow me to stay home more and have a more strategic big picture role with the company, mentor other coaches. Um, and that he wanted to bring this administrative assistant onto his team himself and her provide me with some of that support work under his on his time. So it actually turned out even better than I expected. Of course, I'm gonna have to make sure all the little details of that support, like I still need her to help me stay out of my like I have to advocate for myself on how this new relationship will work. But I felt really empowered to get back to Mara. I felt really empowered and confident by her no nonsense approach to like, of course you should be able to ask for this. Like, look at you, look at what you've done, look at what you're capable of, look at, and it's like,
Yeah.
if anything, you guys were, encouraging me, like, if it doesn't work out with there, go start your own thing. Like, you don't have to work for this company. And I was like, those are thoughts that are like not typically in my mind. It's like I have this mentality of like the company kind of owns me, but it was just like very empowering. I have confidence that I am successful in this work that I do, and I can create it to be the way that I want it to be.
Yes. Yeah. Yay.
And that felt good.
That's the
Yeah.
goal, right?
Yes.
Being able to do it
Yes.
our own way. Really, like
Yeah.
that's the goal, I think, for many of us, right? That's why we do it. I'm curious for you, what is that part of what prompted you like to motivate you in the first place in your business? So like what was the motivation back in the early days to go out on your own?
Um, I did have like this feeling that um I had more to offer, like I had more to give, and it was not necessarily in the same space that I was doing it, which was, all of this tourism growth and development for one community. I had gotten my master's degree in training and human resource development in 2016. I'd become certified as an Enneagram facilitator and coach in 2017. And I felt like my heart, like when I could do those Enneagram programs, even though I was still doing my job, my full-time regular job until 2020, I just felt like a different aliveness. I don't know this word. I felt a different like joy level as like, oh, I want to experience this more often. I want to do this more often. Um, and so it was really like thinking, I beginning of 2020, new decade, new opportunity for that. I've been in my job for 27 years. I was feeling like it was time. Quite honestly, we'd finished some really big community projects and I was having some challenges in my role. And I was like, I don't feel like I need to do this anymore. And I'm a capable person. So I moved from Wisconsin to Tucson thinking I'm just gonna like hang my shingle and start doing some stuff. And that's when the pandemic hit. Um, and so that was scary, but it also allowed me to go into like coach training for a whole year to become a certified executive coach. And it was really that year, as much as it felt like a challenge to have the pandemic right there, it was actually the biggest gift because the
Mm.
whole world was closing down. And then when it came back in 2021, when things started coming back, Fired Up Culture was there. I was still able to work in the space of the tourism organizations that I had come from, but in a
Uh-huh.
whole different way. And I've had people say, you literally reinvented yourself. I'm like, yeah, I actually did.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I'm an expert on lots of different things related to relationships and how we get along in the workplace and conflict resolution and how we build our companies in different ways. And it's just it's just really I here's what I did. I just kind of trusted the unfolding of I'm being led to something and I don't really have it planned out yet, but it feels like where I'm supposed to be going. I mean, I literally had a vision of me on a golf cart in Arizona. I'm like, I think I gotta go to Arizona. And then I found myself really starting to trust each next step. And when things don't go the way I want them to, like the way I have it planned out in my head, I've I think I've gotten good at just trusting how this is unfolding. Like I don't get it now, but I think it's gonna work out. Um, and it sure has. It really has. And so moving forward, I feel these fears and I have to remember that. Like I just have to start and trust and be
Mhm.
me and be me and be the healthiest me I can in
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
in every way, physical, emotional, all of it.
I love that. Yes. So I'll start to wrap us up here, but just want to, with all of this, with that vision of where you wanted to be, everything that we've accomplished working together, that you've accomplished, for yourself here, you know, what, in terms of where you are now and the work that we've done together, what would you say has been the most helpful and transformational aspects of that work?
Understanding more about everything about how I'm wired, um, like the nutrition, like the integration of the nutrition work, um, how my body's receiving food and how stress impacts that, and like digest. I mean, like the body, my like it sounds so kind of narcissistic, but the focus on myself, like the self work. It's like, how does this nutrition working for you? Like, like really thinking about my brain, like what's happening right now in my body with my digestive system as I'm eating this thing. Is
Mhm.
it happy with me or is it not happy with me right now? And what's my and tuning into those, like your body talks to you all the time, but if you're in your head and doing all the mental stuff, you don't have the chance to communicate with your body. So physically with the body, but also like what are these emotions? Like curious about like what's like it's also physical. I feel a twist in my gut right now about what that person just said. Pause. What is that? Why? What's that connected
Mhm.
to? Like let's dissect it. Let's really understand that what that emotion is connected to and why that's so it's really been that tuning in instead of all of that focus on the outside chaos and all the people that need me for their stuff. And like in the end, if I'm off this earth, if I'm not here, they're gonna figure out their crap. You know, they're gonna figure it out.
Exactly. I love that.
No one's gonna worry about whether I'm here or not except me. And so that's really been the shift is it's okay. Like permission to be like I feel so like you hear it right now. I just feel so selfish. Like we had to work on what the word would be, like self-focus couldn't be it. You know, it's like it, but the permission to love myself, I think is really what has been most transformational
Mhm.
as I sort of like long-windedly get to that answer, but I think that's really what it is.
I love it. I
What,
love
what,
it.
what do you think, Lori? Like it's with our work together, just what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think that, yeah, that really, I think that sums it up really is like you said, it's the permission to love yourself, but it's the work to get to a point where you feel like you can give yourself that permission, right? Because
Yeah.
and it's not that you need my permission or anyone else's permission to do that, right? But it's getting to a point where you can actually feel like you're deserving of it because you know what's happening in your body, why you react certain ways, why you feel things. And
Hmm.
that does, like the nutrition, the human design, like all of it really does play together to our overall success. Like you've had
Yeah.
some giant financial successes in the time that we worked together as well, but I think that it all comes back to that. It really does.
Yeah. I've had people comment like just what have you been doing? Like you look like a different person, you know? It's like I stopped coloring my hair. I let my hair go gray. I've lost 15 pounds. So those are the external things, but I think they also say like there's some kind of like a joy, like there's something in there, there's a happiness in your eyes or something in your face, there's something. So like as much as I'm still feeling like over scheduled at times, I still have like the intel about what needs to happen and what I need to do to get it back on track. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Okay. So mind, body, financial, like you've done it all. You've done it all. I'm
and I
so
still need my coaches.
you still do. Coaches need coaches, right?
Coaches need coaches.
We do. We do. I know. I like you said you have multiple. I have multiple. I think it's, honestly been for myself a big part of my success, and I think it is for a lot
Mhm.
of us, right? And you mentioned earlier too, like it can be scary sometimes to make the investments, but when you actually think of the ROI, like
Mhm.
um both from that emotional, physical, space, but
Right.
the financial ROI. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
maybe you could talk a little bit about that, if you wouldn't mind. Like, do you feel like talk a little bit about, the investment versus the ROI in this work that we've done together, whether it's, the coaching, the retreat, and what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like a big investment. And then the truth is, with the first month, it was just like a portion of my contracts, of my commission. It was just like within 1 month, a portion of my commissions paid because I was just like I was in this space where things were just falling on me, like falling. I wasn't even trying, and things were coming in, and I don't really know. Like it didn't really make sense, but it was a very flowy feel. Like I'm I'm doing what I love right now. I've put myself in that like a lot of it I started to experience when I went to Hawaii, and it was like I would let myself work 4 or 5 hours a day and then I would go and enjoy the outside. I was away. So it was like I'm home in Tucson. I just like, I can't break away, but I was just like in this other setting and I would just be good to myself. Then I go back for my 4 or 5 hours. And people were just like calling me from right and left and coming in. It's like, I need this. And then it's like, and then deals that I'd sat on for maybe 3 or 4 months, all of a sudden were coming through sign. And so it was just like this relaxed, easy feeling. And I didn't really understand it, but I do think it connected to just my chill feel. Like I was kind of in flow.
Yep, that's it right there. Just in flow.
It was just in flow, and I wasn't worried about the numbers. It really was. I was kind of like, this is going to be potentially 4 weeks of no revenue. And then I have to be okay with that because I really need this, time away, vacation. I had said in my mind, like, I'm okay if I don't actually sign any new business while I'm here. But I'm just still gonna give 4 or 5 hours a day. It was just crazy. So I really do have to remember that lesson. And then it's kind of same thing when I was in Bali. I was like committed to like, I'm gonna be all in for Bali. You know, I didn't, and I kind of laugh because I just have trouble putting my out of office autoresponder on because I'd rather just know what's happening and deal with it if I can. So I would spend a little bit of time, maybe 30 minutes a day when in Bali, just kind of keeping up. But yeah, during that, I didn't put my out of office responder on, but I just kept tabs on things. And yeah, three different contracts unexpectedly came in while I was in that flowy space.
Yeah.
So
But you can't explain it
can't really
necessarily.
explain it,
Yeah.
but I
It
gotta recreate it.
happens. Well,
And
we
I
don't
also
have to recreate it. We just have to continue to create it.
continue it, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
So,
felt like also my coaching experience with you, I clearly am in the coaching world, so I have experience with watching a lot of other coaches, and their styles can always be different. And for me, I always felt, Lori, that you were so present with me. I mean, sometimes I feel like, gosh, I need to be more present in my calls with people the way Lori is with me, because it's just so like you follow the rambling to get to like the point. You ask your great questions. You're always curious. And it gets us to but it's just like you have this internal knowing, like this intuition that I've really connected with for you. It's just like, um, you kind of know in a way where I am and where I need to head, and you can throw some things. You don't tell me what to do, but you can throw some possibilities out there that I haven't really thought of. And that just like, oh wow, that was I didn't think of that. Maybe, So I love that you're so present and you're so intuitive, and then you're just also on the Voxer access thing, just very available, like very responsive. Those would be my top things, knowing you as my coach for several months now.
oh, well, awesome. Thank you. So, um, I guess my last question was going to be, which you might have already answered this, but why? So, if you were going to recommend that someone work with me, attend a retreat with me, and or Mara too,
Yep.
why would you recommend that? Like, what would you say to someone if they were considering that?
I mean, I think in both cases, and I haven't worked as much directly with Mary as a coach, but I can see she's the same way. It's just very much you're gonna feel supported personally and in a customized way, even in a group setting. You're both very tuned into um, the human design and that we're all wired differently and what that means for us. And the strategies are not one size fits all. Like you got to take a lot of pieces of information and in to be
Mhm.
able to say this feels what's right for you. And I think you're both your knowledge in human design and your understanding that it's not one size fits all. There's a customized, personalized approach, and you're willing to really like hold space, be present, and not just kind of saying, oh, you gotta do that. Like so many times I think coaches think that they're actually consultants. And it's like I needed a consultant, I guess, because like, coaches actually are more about letting you get all your crap out of your body.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then like looking at all the pieces on the floor and saying, let's like pick these pieces up and knit something together that makes sense.
Yeah,
And
I like
that and that's how I feel with you. It's like I just like and I get done like, oh, thank you so much. That felt so good. You're like, well, I haven't really started asking my questions yet.
that.
Like, but I feel good. I feel heard. And it's just like, why? Like, we deserve that. Like, we're always giving, 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 giving to others. And this, like, this is a gift back to ourselves. My ongoing coaching with you for the next 6 months is my holiday gift to myself. Merry Christmas, Linda,
Merry
because
Christmas.
you deserve, like, I deserve this, and this is a gift in continuing this journey for you. And I just love how you're able to make your magic is beautiful.
Well, thank you. And so is yours. And I can't wait to bring more of it to the world in the next 6 months.
Uh, Thank you. She's gonna have me writing stuff now, putting it
Yes,
out there
we'll be, we'll
publicly.
be we'll be back here with some updates, right?
My throat chakra's hurting.
Oh my gosh, no, it's going to be amazing. And thank you so much
Awesome.
for sharing
Absolutely.
this experience. Sharing well your journey with me first of all and foremost, but then sharing it here as well so that other
It's
people
been
can.
wonderful.
So,
I'd highly recommend it.
well, thank you, and I can't wait for what is to come. So, thank
Same,
you, thank you, thank you.
same.